4:09. I would entertain a motion as we call the meeting to order for the ordering and approval of tonight's agenda as presented.
So moved.
Thank you, Sean. May I have a second? Thank you so much, Sally. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, raise your hand. Passes unanimously. Tonight, we have two reports. First is Atchison High School building report, and I will turn that over to Mrs. Warren. Welcome, Mrs. Warren and guest.
Yes. So obviously with no school today, it was hard to get extra students. So we do have a couple of students, and I'll have them come up here as well with us, just to kind of represent some different organizations that we have here. Oh yeah, Mike, sorry. Here at Atchison High School. So first and foremost, our topics for tonight, we're going to get a report from our Principals Advisory Council, our new student mentor class. We're going to show you some ACT work key data that we have from this year, which has been pretty impressive. We're going to talk about just kind of our IPS and our work-based learning and how that's going, some curriculum updates, and then just kind of highlighting some activities and athletics that we have. So as you know, we are in year 2 of visible learning, which has been really great for Atchison High School. And so one of the things that we did last year at the end of the year was we created a portrait of a phoenix. And so what does a successful high school graduate look like? And so as you can see, we want students to be independent learners, critical thinking learners, resilient learners, engaged learners, and accountable learners. And I think that you can definitely see the growth in that with our language in classrooms through our success criteria and our learning intentions, but also just the growth that we've had in our culture within our student body. So it has been really exciting for that. So I am actually going to turn it over to these wonderful ladies right here that were able to join us tonight, and they're going to talk to you about the organizations that they represent.
Hi, I'm Lily Ortel. I'm the sophomore class vice president, and I'm involved in volleyball, soccer, and NHS, and principals advisory. So in principals advisory, we kind of give students a voice to talk about things that they might like or dislike in the schedule and kind of be able to advocate for their peers, because we hear more things that we like versus we don't like through other students. We talk about like seminar and things that we like with that and don't like, how it gives us time to work on homework versus we don't like it at the end of the day or we do. And then lately we've been talking about a Renaissance program and putting that in place for next year, which I think would be really nice. It gives kids ways like to be motivated towards 4.0 GPAs, not missing school, no tardies, stuff like that. So, yeah.
Awesome.
That's it.
Good.
So we're still in the works on the Renaissance program and what that looks like for next year, but really just setting the focus of talking about it at a meeting and then going back to the peers and pulling in kind of what they're wanting. And so we have, different levels with that. And so just kind of still in the works, and we will hopefully have that finalized by hopefully our next 2 meetings to really implement that and send that off to Jostens. And then our student ID cards will have those incentives on the back for them. Some of the things that we've talked about, getting into games for free for certain levels, maybe reduced prices for snacks at the concession stand, kind of those sorts of things. Just things that really help kids, want to achieve those specific goals. So, all right, and we're going to turn it over to Miss Ross here.
Hi, I'm Catherine Ross. I'm a senior at Atchison. I participate in volleyball, student ambassadors, NHS, and then the student mentor program. This was a new program that they added the second semester of this year, and I was lucky enough to be chosen as one of them. So the first semester, I got assigned to a girl student that was a freshman. It was really awkward going into it because I didn't really know what to expect. So I was like, I don't want to really act like I'm taking charge and really telling her what to do. But over time, we've kind of built a relationship, and she's become more comfortable with me since third quarter to now fourth quarter. So I go to math class with her, and at first she really needed help, and now she's kind of good at doing her own thing. She only asks for help when it's really needed. I've helped her set healthy habits as to finishing her work after class or coming back during seminar to finish her work. And then sometimes during the week we do reflections with 2 other teachers in the building, Miss Bland and Miss Ellerman, and we just kind of reflect on the week or reflect over what's been going on the past couple weeks with our mentees and what's improved and what we can change for the next time. So I've kind of learned just to be like a leader, and it's like a lot of responsibility and how to build healthy relationships with people you've never spoken to before or met. So that's my experience.
So this was a new kind of elective that we added to this semester, and we're going to continue it on. So we kind of started with a group of seniors. I think we have six or eight different mentors that we use, and we just kind of a eclectic mix of kids. And we found some freshman students that were really kind of struggling to adapt to the high school. So they'd been in freshman first. We hadn't seen a lot of growth from them for that. And so we figured, what if we tried this mentoring process to where we could team them up with a senior mentor to be able just to have kind of that person that you could go to if you have questions. And so Catherine has been fantastic with hers. All of our student mentors have been fantastic. They get a half elective credit for that class. They also get letters of recommendation from myself, Miss Bland, Miss Ellerman, and the cooperating teacher of the classroom that they're in. So Catherine would get it from her math class teacher, and that's great for scholarships or even job applications. So we really kind of looked at it holistically and really figured out ways that we could make this work. So next year we're hoping to grow that program as well, and hopefully start that first semester, but also potentially continue it on maybe for kids that are struggling into their sophomore year as well. So we do have one junior that is a mentor, so she has already stated that she wants to do the program again next year and be able to help and work with her same student, which is also really exciting because she's the only team with a male, and so we were really kind of concerned about what that might look like, but she has been really successful in building those relationships, as have all of our other ones. So thank you to these ladies who were able to come tonight.
Yes,
Lily
thank you
has to
so
go to
much.
soccer, so soccer is playing right now, so we'll let her go. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
All right, just some other things that we really want to highlight is one of our focuses that we have done this year is looking at our pre-ACT data and our ACT data and our work keys data. So we're going to show you a little bit about that as we kind of talk. So what we have done with visible learning is we've kind of made it to where how can we focus on ACT and visible learning at the same time without creating extra work for our teachers, right? We're hearing all this workload and stuff. And so with that, what we have done is we now give the pre-ACT to 9th and 10th graders to be able to see that growth between 9th and 10th grade. Then we can look at their ACT scores and see, okay, here are our gaps here in 10th grade. Where do we need to get them into that to that 11th grade year when they get that ACT test? So this first piece of data that you have is our graduating class of 2025. So this is the class that we are going to have 2 years of data for them for you to be able to see. So you can kind of see as freshmen, if you want to look at kind of all their columns there, for math for 9th grade, we had 33% of them on target, had met the target. 36 were kind of on the cusp, and 31% did not meet. As you look at that math in 10th grade, you can see that we declined. So we went from 33% of our students being on grade level or at that meeting mark for the pre-ACT, and then they are not on grade level now. So then what we need to look at is what can we do as a building into the math department to make those gains, to get those students that are going to take the ACT caught up. And so this has been a great piece of data for discussion in our PLCs, and we've really been looking at how do we improve that academic language, how do we improve those skills that they're needing to hit that benchmark level that we want them at. I'm not going to go through every piece of data for you there. You can look at that and kind of see where we are. But this is a starting point for us, and we're really excited to be able to look and to see that growth as we continue this process and move on. These are current 9th grade pre-ACT scores that you will be able to then see that 10th grade data piece next year. So you can see that we're pretty low in math. It's kind of a consistent, but our science has obviously a little bit higher. Our English and reading are right there at that 42% of our students are meeting. So now our goal is to say within English and reading, what can we do to sustain this? And so each department is specifically looking at that data piece to say, hey, okay, this is where we are. How can we then work to get that growth? So we're looking at that in like our algebra to our geometry? How can we get that common language across the board to be able to do that as well? The next piece of data is our current ACT scores, and this looks at all the way, obviously, from 1819 to current. And I really want to focus on looking at the composite scores over the last 5 years. So when you look at that first column of that composite score, obviously in 1819, we were at 20.9% of our, 20.9 was our composite score for the ACT. It started to decline, then we hit COVID, really kind of declined there. But I want you to see that growth and that gain that we took from last year at 18.6, and we jumped our composite score to a 19.5, which is awesome. Another highlight that I really want to look at too is our English score. If you look at our English score last year at a 16.7, our composite English alone jumped to 18.5. We're making gains and we're making strides and we're seeing those pieces start to come together. And so I think that looking at those gains that we are making, you can see that we're back on that uphill trend of our ACT scores, and we're right there at that state level, which is really exciting considering the dip that we took during COVID. So we're making progress. It's slow but sure. We're putting some things into place again through the visible learning, through our PLCs, but also we are implementing like an ACT prep class for kids so that they can learn the skills that they need to be successful on the ACT. Because a lot of times it's more of a, hey, this is what you need to do on the reading section. This is what the science about. It's not necessarily understanding science. It's more looking at the graphs and the data with that piece. So understanding that and being able to help coach kids through that has been helpful this year. And that ACT class will hopefully be implemented next year, and we'll be able to really see those gains and those growths. Finally, I kind of wanted to show you guys some of the work keys data. So not every kid takes the ACT in 11th grade. It's offered, but not everyone takes it. And so what we then do is have every kid take the work keys data. And so this is just one section of the work keys for you to kind of look at. And the work keys, as you remember, I don't know if you remember from last year, but it divides it up into different categories. And so in order to get a certificate within certain programs at Highland, they have to hit a certain score. And some of those programs that they have are a 4, some are a 5. And so when our kids take that work keys data, if they score, say they score a 5 in their applied math, their applied reading, and their workplace readiness, they get a certificate for that. And so if you can see, last year we had, actually the last 2 years, we have not had any kids score a 7. And we have 11% score a 7, had scored 7s across the board this year, which is awesome. Mm-hmm. So really looking at that. And again, this is just in that applied math piece. We didn't put all of the data broken in here because we wanted to show you some of the questions of what those work-based questions look like and what those skills are that kids have. Because when they leave us, those are the things that some of the employers look for in that work keys information. So this is just an example of some of the 10th grade curriculum that we have. Basically, they get this piece of information, and then they have to kind of answer those questions for that. And so there's graphs, there's reading components, there's math components. Ms. Hansen took a test just to kind of see what it was like. I have not done that yet. But just to kind of see, so she was able to pull these questions from her test to be able to kind of see what that really looks like, so we can help then prepare those kids for those for that curriculum. So we are adding work keys curriculum into 10th grade next year, and students that receive a 4 through 7 receive a certificate. So we're really going to highlight those this year at graduation for any kid that received a bronze, silver, gold, or a platinum. So we're really excited because we do have a few students that have really hit that platinum level. That also helps us as a district just look better on our college and career readiness piece of information. So we have not done that in the past, and we really started to look at that and what that looks like. And so we are starting to implement those certificates, and those kids get recognized for that hard work. They also then helps them when, if they go to Highland or another technical school, they've already hit that level. And so then it's just getting into that program for them, which is exciting.
So this is just another Work Keys curriculum question that they get to have on there as well.
Google.
Yeah, so Google's not an option for our students when they take this, but you can work it out on your own time later. And then basically, this is just kind of another example like that they can go through and look at. So this is a level 4 is introduction, looking at fractions and decimals, multiplying mixed and whole numbers using rates and ratios and proportions. And then, that level 5 then looks at unlike denominators with fractions and some just different things. So those levels, obviously, as they go up to that level 7, those questions are going to get a little harder. It's just how well they do on those. So just some really interesting stuff to see what our kids are actually doing when they take these Work Keys assessments. So next we're going to kind of move into our IPS update for you. Last year we received a Bronze Star for our IPS, which is really exciting. There were only 3 other schools in the state of Kansas that received any stars. And so we were one of those top schools to do that. So our goal this year is to be higher than a bronze. And I really think that we can do that through all of the stuff that we learned from that process. So a couple of things and highlights this year. We moved from Zello to Naviance, and we have had a lot of intensive training on that just to see all the opportunities that are available through that program. That program has so much more than we've utilized this year, and it's so exciting to see what we're going to utilize with it next year. There are scholarships available to any student that is a sophomore to be able to take their junior year and use that for college classes that they take at Atchison High School. They can also have them as juniors, and then there's a plethora of scholarships on that website for seniors as well. This is where they do their portfolio, their interest surveys, and those sorts of things. And then some of you sat on our panel last year for students defending their portfolios. We are doing that again this year, so it'll be year 2 for that. So within that, we will have obviously their resume, cover letter, evidence of their post-secondary plans, recommendation letters from teachers or employers or whatever that they may have, their goals after high school, and then their work-based learning experience. 100% of our students will have a work-based learning experience when they graduate, whether that be through job fairs, getting out into the workforce, doing different types of job shadowing within a company. They all get work-based experience for that. And so we have had kids now start to see that they can do that and come ask us, like, hey, can I take a day and go tour Bungie and go tour, Blish Mize or whatever it may be? And we're like, yes, please. And so then they bring back a signed copy from their supervisor and they get that work-based learning experience. Our job fair that we put on with Highland has been amazing. Every sophomore gets a work-based learning experience their sophomore year. So it's going to look a little different next year with losing Marcy as our IPS coordinator, but we have enough systems built into place that we can absorb those things and do those within our seminars and within our school day to be able to help continue that IPS system, which is exciting. And again, we do our day of service. Our freshman and sophomore day of service are coming up on Earth Day, which is next week, I believe. So they will be going out to the community and just doing all of that. Okay, so next we have curriculum updates. So this year we added with our English classes, we took our juniors and seniors and we based those onto semester classes instead of English 3 and English 4. We have seen a major decline in our Fs of our students in those English classes. We had 4 at semester, which is amazing compared to probably, I think it was 24 that we had last year. So really looking at that voice and choice of what are students wanting to take, what are they going to do to be successful in those classes, and then what can the teachers do to help with that curriculum. It has been awesome to see that. Our English department is phenomenal. Really excited for the changes we even have coming this next year. And we're really going to then do the same thing with our 9th and 10th graders and really giving them some voice and choice in what they're taking so that they're still hitting those state standards. But if they get that voice and choice, it's going to be more, hopefully help them be more successful within those classes. For a CTE update, we are adding restaurant and tourism to our classes there, which is exciting. I think it will really help a lot of our students in really getting that hands-on learning experience of cooking, life skills in the kitchen, and learning how to bake. And then we are changing a little bit more in the history department. We have added a civil rights class, which we needed 3 sections this semester for that class, and we didn't have enough of that just because it was so popular. We are adding Native American history and political corruptions and scandals as electives within that department as well. So really excited for that. Again, this is student-driven for those choices of what they're wanting. They sent a survey out, this is what we want, and this is what the teachers are willing to adapt to, and I think that's amazing. Finally, we just kind of want to give some highlights to our athletics and our activities that we have. I didn't put everything on here because I'm sure I would have missed a lot of things, but we had the most girls out for volleyball that we have had in a single season. We had to add an additional coach, and all of those students, I think except for 5, finished out the year. Bowling had a state qualifier, and not just a state qualifier, a female state qualifier, the first in school history, so that's awesome. Obviously, football made it pretty far in state playoffs. Boys basketball made it to state with the highest attendance of students there, which was amazing. Adrenaline brought the most hardware home that they have brought in several years. So they brought home and made it to finals in all but one of their competitions, and they improved each competition that they had, which was awesome. We had several all-state band members. Our Scholars Bowl was really successful this year. We have an FBLA state officer, which is really exciting. We opened a coffee shop within the building. We have kids that are just reading more. They have checked out, oh my goodness, I forgot, she gave me a number of the circulation of books that have come through our library. So our librarian that we have an agreement with the public library, she has really turned over some of those books that have been there quite a while and brought in stuff that students are wanting. And I cannot remember the number. It was just like, wow, that's a lot of turnover in books. I think she said that at least a quarter of the inventory was checked out last week, which is great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good.
Yes. And she keeps she's like, can I purchase these books? I'm like, yeah, we need them, I guess. So the kids are requesting, they're getting them, and it's coming from all over the state with all those libraries that we have partnerships with too. So it's great. Girls soccer is currently undefeated. Hopefully tonight that continues. And we have brought back Spring Fling, something that I don't think has happened in a few years, at least not since I've been there, which has promoted so much positivity in our student body. There are class competitions, and let me tell you, Kathy Hines organized it all and did an amazing job with her and Lindsay, kind of just figured it all out. I have never seen kids so excited to try to sabotage another class as I have in this situation. So it has been really exciting. It will last the whole month of April. And then we will have just a big awards ceremony at the end. And we are doing all this usually during seminar time. So it's time that, kids can just enjoy and have fun. And finally, we did have a podcast that we are doing. So if you haven't listened to it, it does highlight student groups, athletes, activities, our clubs, different courses that they have. So, all right. Any questions?
Exactly. Yeah. Fantastic things happening at your school. Congratulations and good work to all.
Thank you.
That
Great
is,
presentation.
wow. So good.
Congratulations. Keep up the good work.
So good. Okay, guys, we're going to move on with our proposed district bond project update with Dr. Renee.
All right. So I am in the process of getting around to all buildings. So far, I've been to Atchison Elementary and Atchison Middle School. I'm scheduled at Atchison High School this Wednesday during their PLC staff meeting. And then I need to get with Letitia to add Central to my books on getting to their building. But just kind of an update, we had a discussion earlier this year amongst the board where we brought in some folks just to see where we were financially in terms of a bond issue. You gave me the go-ahead to start exploring, so I'm going to share with you what I'm sharing with buildings. And then what's really been fun about the buildings is then they've given me feedback and have built on the excitement. And so now I'm getting more excited to pursue this and not even overwhelmed like I thought I might be. So just this is not the technical formal bond project name, but I really wanted something for my presentation to show our stakeholders that we have some needs that are essential in this bond, but we also have some room to really dream big in this bond. And so utilizing a little AI, Chat GPT, I said, hey, if I'm wanting to do a bond presentation about old and new and mixing old and new, and they gave me 10 ideas. So then I came up with this. So building brighter futures, a bond issue for essential needs and bold dreams. And this is kind of how I'm laying it out for staff and then the community. So when I first did this for the middle school, I was talking about mill levy, assessed valuation, what a bond issue is. And at the very end of the presentation, a teacher said, I really just don't even understand what a mill levy is. So I backtracked again, very good feedback, and put in some building background. You all are very familiar with what a mill levy is, but just for some of you who might need a refresher, a mill levy is the property tax rate that's used to fund public schools, and it's 0.001 of a property's assessed value. Okay, so that's a mill. And the mill levy rate for a school district is set by the local school board. And that's really important as we move forward because we know that we don't want to add burden to our taxpayers. And so we wouldn't even attempt to talk about a bond issue if we were going to burden our taxpayers any more than what you've already been feeling. And then I also talked to them a little bit about assessed valuation, and that is our local county appraiser's office. They determine your assessed valuation. And so as I shared with the middle and elementary school, if many of you received a letter in the mail that showed what your recent assessed valuation was, you may have had a heart attack like me. Mine increased like over 20%. That's a little out of the norm. Typically, we're at about a 2 to 3% increase in the county of Atchison. Last year was an 11% increase, and I'll talk a little bit about that. And then just what is a bond issue? And a bond issue is, in very layman's terms, it's almost like a loan specific to capital building projects that a school district can take out. And there are limitations to that. So again, this is review for you, but I will go into that a lot more in detail when I visit with the public and our schools. So financial overview, I'm going to talk a little bit about where we are in the district and why this is even a possible conversation in terms of assessed valuation, mill levy management, interest rates, bond and interest fund, mill levy comparison, and then a financial conclusion. So as I said, our district's assessed valuation has really been moderate growth, about 2% over the past 10 years, annual growth. That's a good growth. It's not socking taxpayers. Except for last year, of course, we got socked a little bit, and the average increase was 11%. And as I said, mine was over 20%. That was a huge increase. 50% of that is total assessed valuation from residential market. And then the rest is mostly assessed valuation from new commercial construction. So one thing we have to keep in mind in Atchison is in 26, Benedictine College is bringing a med school to Atchison. And it will be considered essentially a Fortune 500 company. They will bring in 80 to 100 staff members that make around a six-figure salary to this community. And most of those folks, or a lot of them, will be retiring physicians. So I don't anticipate a huge influx of students. They're at that retirement age. However, we know that schools attract people, public, private, etc. And we really need to look at attracting the best people we can to the Atchison community, because in addition to those those professors that will be coming in, those doctors, they're going to need places to live. We're going to have more options to eat. We're going to have more options to shop. And so that starts just increasing the community needs in general. So although I don't anticipate an annual growth of 11%, I do want to point out that we're going to probably have additional housing developments and such that will have some moderate growth in assessed valuation. This board, and I can't take any of the credit, this board and district has been very savvy with their finances and especially their mills. In 2012-13, the district mill levy was set at 59.29. And since then, USD 409 has lowered that mill levy to 52.697, and that's pretty steady over the 4 years that I've been here. So that's a decrease of 7.232 mills over since 2012-2013. Remember, the school board sets the mill levy rate. And so to keep lowering that rate or keep it reasonable shows good financial stewardship. Interest rates, some people may think, gosh, what are we even thinking about a bond issue when interest rates are so high? Actually, interest rates have really leveled off to 4.2%. That's very consistent with where they were in 2017, 18, and 19. We just got really lucky over the last couple of years and had some very low interest rates. As I shared with the middle school and the elementary school, when I bought my first house, probably in 2005, in Dumas, Texas, my interest rate for my home was 8.9%. Okay, and now when I moved to Atchison a couple years ago, I got in much lower than that. So really, interest rates are probably at a more normed rate, and the trends show those not increasing drastically. So sound fiscal management by USD 409 is going to allow some flexibility to keep that mill levy steady. And even without raising the mill levy at all, we could be looking at a $25 million bond issue over 20 years. Now, remember, a big chunk of that has to go to those needed areas. HVAC, roofs, those are those essential needs. Safety, those would be non-negotiable. And then we have extra to really look at what does this community need. As I shared, I have a great vision for what I think this community needs. And usually when I present to the schools, you can see the light bulbs go off. Oh, wouldn't it be great if we had X, Y, and Z? But I'm really looking to what's the future of this district. I mean, realistically, I am not, I've got 6-10 years to retirement. And a bond issue needs to get us to the next 30 years. So I have to think of what's best for my grandchildren who are attending here over the next 10 to 20 years. What does this look like, this vision for the future? I wanted just to show you that our mill levy is in very good shape comparatively. So if you look on this screen, we're about 3/4 of the way down into what our mill levy rate is comparatively. This rate is schools our size comparative and also some local schools. So even if you look at Hiawatha, for instance, is a little lower than us, but they're much smaller than us. But we're lower than Leavenworth, Valley Falls, Holton, Chanute, Scott County. Those are all very comparable in size to our district. So again, just another really good example of the fiscal responsibility this district has shown. And so again, there are some misconceptions. Why do we need a bond issue? We got all this ESSER money. ESSER funding could only be used for a total of 12 subgroup categories. School improvement was a very minimal part of that. We could have considered some roofs and HVAC, but with one-time money, it's much more important. And as our surveys indicated, that we look at teacher retention and recruitment, we look at strong professional development, and we start closing that achievement gap, which we've done with we've worked with our ESSER money. Also, another misconception, oh, the government's giving you such increased funding with the Gannon case. Remember, that increased funding got us to the levels that we've been lacking since about 2008. So we're finally breaking even there. So our additional money, with some decreases in enrollment, really isn't enough to cover HVAC's roofs. And as I've shared with all of these presentations so far, this isn't because our plant facilities and technology department didn't plan. Our buildings are well taken care of. You can't walk into one of our buildings and not see the pride that is taken in them. We have extended the life of our roofs and HVAC beyond belief. Look at our elementary, it's nearing the 25-year mark of existence. Roofs usually have a 20-year lifespan. That's the diligence and care that our building maintenance have put in. But at some point, you have to begin to think about replacement and updates. So remember, I said those essential needs. Those would include roofs and HVAC, safety needs, and I have this on there, exploring a virtual learning center, but maybe just exploring a way to connect with some of our homeschooled students to give them some options and maybe increase enrollment. So we really need to replace that dot with how can we look at increasing student enrollment based in Atchison. And then the bold dreams is where everyone else comes in, the community. The we is bigger than the me. Forward thinking, what does our community want? What does our community need? And what's best for all kids? So as we look to the dreaming part, we'll begin to engage stakeholders with focus groups. We'll establish guiding principles. Why are we doing a bond and who will it benefit? We will gain a really good understanding of our current facilities. Then we'll begin to discover and dream the possibilities for the future, and really based on research, design solutions. And then our hope would be to present a solution to the board. If you're asking about timeline, probably the best case scenario would be February to bring this to an election. All bonds have to be passed through an Atchison city election. Yes, there is a general election in November, but that's pretty quick to really dive in. So February would be our best option, and if we needed to push back to April, we could do that as well. Any questions about the update? Again, those of you who are visiting from other schools, I'm sorry, you'll get this later in the week if I haven't been to your school yet. But I think the more you hear, also the better, and sometimes it resonates. So any questions, thoughts?
You had mentioned a city election, but it's really USD 409 boundaries.
Correct.
Right? Okay.
Correct. Boundaries, yes, good call. Anyone in the boundaries of 409.
Wonderful.
That's great.
Good presentation.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Public comments? Anybody for the public? That's okay. Okay, there's no public comments tonight, so let's move on for the approval of tonight's consent agenda as presented. May I have a motion, please?
I so moved.
Thank you, Diane. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you so much, and it passes unanimously. Next is our action items, and first tonight is to reaffirm and revise the board policies as presented. And Ms. Honeywell, would you come and visit with us, please?
Yes, so just one note on these, and there's a reason we have multiple eyes look at it, because Debbie caught policy IHF. These graduation requirements are not consistent with what we just heard from Mrs. Warren, because they still reference our former mascot. So we do need to make some changes there. So we would like to reaffirm the rest of the policies, but pull IHF graduation requirements out and take a look at that next time.
Okay. All right. So may I have a motion stating that, please?
I move that we accept her, is that what we're doing, accept affirming
Affirming.
Policies IDCE through policy
IIBG, with the exception of,
Yes.
yes.
policy IHF.
Okay,
I'll second.
thank you, Sean. Any discussion on those? Seeing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you so much, passes unanimously. Next is our summer maintenance and capital outlay and technology plan, and this is the second reading, so Lori,
I was just gonna go and see if you had any questions for me.
I do not.
I just came to you in the middle of the night.
It was very, yeah, it was very well,
My bad, sorry.
very, very well laid out.
Okay.
All right.
Jay will be coming back in the next month or two with proposals, RFPs for the big projects that are over $20,000 that we have to bid out for bid law.
Okay,
So be prepared to see those.
okay.
Thank you.
I'd like to take action on that. May I have a motion, please?
All right, I move to approve the summer maintenance and capital outlay technology plan as presented.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you so much. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you so much, passes unanimously. Next, Mrs. Honeywell's coming back to talk to us about the policy review, the first read in items for discussion and consideration.
So again, most of these are for reaffirm. However, that IHF graduation requirements, will get that language amended and sent to you. And then JBC enrollment, just a note, you might remember last year that the legislature passed some new regulations regarding open enrollment. We're still waiting on some more guidance as well as some things to happen in the legislature before we can make some final changes. But policy JBC is really strong actually for our district, talking about resident students and how we handle applications to come to our school if you're a non-resident student. So that would be worth taking a look at and just knowing that in the future, there's going to be some alterations to that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you so much. Any questions for her, guys? Okay, thank you.
Hey, Nicole, really quick, do you want to tell them about the policy we pulled and we'll have the committee looking at that? You don't have to name it, you could just share with it.
I think it was IF, I'm not totally sure, but
Okay.
this policy talks about basically classroom organization and anything that teachers would post, and it has some strong regulations with what that might look like, so we really want to make sure our policy committee has a chance to read through that and discuss it, and then also get the word out to staff before we make any changes there.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much. I think now's time for us to enter into executive session. And I think we needed, okay, Diane.
Madam President, I move that the board recess into an executive session to discuss the following subjects: negotiations. The justification for this executive session is to discuss employer-employee negotiations, whether or not in consultation with the representative or representatives of the body or agency pursuant to the exception for employer-employee negotiations under KOMA. The meeting will resume with Larry joining us Larry will join us for the meeting. We'll resume in this space at what time?
And Lori too.
Oh, and Lori, okay. And we'll resume here, how much time do we want?
Let's go 20 minutes.
So at,
7:02.
okay, 7:02.
We have a second, please? I'll second. Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, raise your hand. I think we're going to go over personnel.
I would like to move that we accept the following resignations. Kathy White, food service worker, Atchison Elementary, effective March 23rd, 2023. Amanda Clark, fifth grade special education teacher, fifth grade lunch supervisor, and elementary yearbook photographer sponsor at Atchison Elementary, effective at the end of the current school year. Misty Collins, art teacher, Atchison Elementary, effective at the end of the current school year. Amy Olberding, first grade teacher and elementary mentor coordinator, Atchison Elementary School, effective at the end of the 2022-2023 school year. Lisa Sutton, paraeducator, Atchison Elementary School, effective April 10th, 2023. Paxton Throne, first grade teacher, Atchison Elementary School, effective at the end of the current school year. Paxton Throne, assistant varsity volleyball coach, Atchison High School, assistant girls basketball coach, Atchison High School, and first grade lunch supervisor, spring semester, Atchison Elementary School, effective at the end of the current school year. Elizabeth Jones, fifth grade teacher, Atchison Elementary School, effective at the end of the current school year. Jerlyn Gormley, low incidence special education teacher, Atchison Middle School, effective at the end of the current school year. Kurt Schlenker, Gender Sexuality Alliance, GSA sponsor, Atchison High School, effective at the end of this current school year. Lacey Warren, head principal, Atchison High School, effective June 30th, 2023. Felicia Knoll, paraeducator, Atchison Middle School, April 17th, 2023. Kylia Owens, third grade teacher, Atchison Elementary, effective at the end of the current school year.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. Passes unanimously. Employment recommendations.
I make a motion for the following 2022-2023 employment recommendations. Katrina Streetenberger, paraeducator, Atchison Elementary School, effective March 20th, 2023. Kelsey Rumbley, paraeducator, Atchison Elementary School, effective April 11th, 2023. And Emma Hornbostel, part-time custodian, Atchison Elementary School, effective April 11th, 2023.
May I have a second? Second. Thank you so much. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. Passes unanimously. Thank you. Employment recommendations for 23-24.
I move that we accept the following. Maggie Mikulak, fourth grade teacher, Atchison Elementary School, effective July 1st, 2023. Julie Miller, second grade teacher, Atchison Elementary School, effective July 1st, 2023. Kia Boyd, high school librarian, Atchison High School, effective July 1st, 2023. Kensington Hudson, art teacher, Atchison Middle School, July 21st, 2023. Sherry Doman, special education teacher, speech department, Atchison Elementary School, effective July 1st, 2023. Deanna Mandrick, first grade teacher, Atchison Elementary School, effective July 1st, 2023. Hannah Mason, third grade teacher, Atchison Elementary School, effective July 1st, 2023. Camille Ecorn, fax teacher, Atchison High School, effective July 1st, 2023. J.L. Ray, transportation, bus secretary, service center, effective July 1st, 2023. J.C. Niggas, preschool teacher, Atchison Elementary School, effective July 1st, 2023. Janice Olds, 3rd to 5th grade associate principal, Atchison Elementary School, effective July 1st, 2023. Glenda Deshawn, 3rd grade teacher, Atchison Elementary School, effective July 1st, 2023.
May I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Thank you so much. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you so much. Passes unanimously. Next.
Transfers for 2022-2023, I move that we accept the following. Rachel Gannell, food service worker for the district, to custodian, Atchison Middle School, effective March 27th, 2023. Susan Seaver, full-time paraeducator, Atchison Elementary School, to half-time paraeducator and half-time 10-month secretary, Atchison Elementary School, effective April 11th, 2023 to May 25th, 2023, and then to full-time 10-month secretary beginning May 26th, 2023. And Michelle Streeter, afternoon, evening custodian, Atchison Elementary School, to morning custodian, effective June 1st, 2023.
Awesome. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you so much. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you so much. Next, transfers.
Transfers for 2023-2024, I move that we accept the following. First, a correction for Amy Siebenmorgan, physical education teacher, Atchison Elementary School, to special education teacher, speech pathology assistant, Atchison Elementary School, effective July 1st, 2023. Angie Gray, third grade teacher, Atchison Elementary School, to fifth grade teacher, Atchison Elementary School, effective July 1st, 2023. Lottie Lee, fifth grade teacher, Atchison Elementary School, to sixth grade core support teacher, Atchison Middle School, effective July 1st, 2023. Kylie Coatman, seventh grade teacher, to seventh grade core support teacher, Atchison Middle School, effective July 21st, 2023. Melinda Hanson, sixth grade teacher, Atchison Middle School, to fifth grade teacher, Atchison Elementary School, effective July 21st, 2023. Courtney McCulley, sixth grade teacher, Atchison Middle School, to fifth grade teacher, Atchison Elementary School, effective July 1st, 2023. And Bailey Funk, second grade teacher, Atchison Elementary School, to STEM teacher, Atchison Elementary School, effective July 1st, 2023.
May I have a second? Second. Thank you so much. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. Passes unanimously. Extension of contracts.
For 2023, 2024, and 2024 to 2025 by ESSER funds, I move that we accept Amanda Drury as District Data Analyst.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Sean. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you so much. Supplementals, 22, 23.
And if I could put these all into one motion, supplementals for 2022 and 2023. Michelle Fosdick, Assistant Track Coach at AMS, and supplementals for 2023, 2024. Alicia Cobley, Photographer and Yearbook Sponsor at Atchison Elementary School, and Camille Eichhorn, Major Club Sponsor, FCCLA at Atchison High School.
Second? Thank you so much. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you so much.
I'd like to move that we accept the following 2023-2024 Administrator Reorganization. Letitia Downing, Principal, Central School, to Head Principal, Atchison High School, effective July 1st, 2023. Lindsay Hanson, Assistant Principal and Communications Coordinator, Atchison High School, to Head Principal, CTE Coordinator and Communication Coordinator, Central School, effective July 1st, 2023. Tyler Lukanoff, Assistant Principal and Activities Director at Atchison Middle School, to Assistant Principal, Atchison Middle School, and District-wide Activities Director for the district, effective July 1st, 2023. And finally, Mark Felvis, Assistant Principal and Activities Director at Atchison High, to Assistant Principal, Atchison High School, effective July 1st, 2023.
Wait a minute.
Yep, that's okay.
Okay, second, any discussion? Thank you.
Yes, I would move to make a correction to Tyler Lukanoff's. It would be district-wide Activities Director, AMS and AHS for
Oh, okay,
23. So it would be no assistant principal.
okay,
No.
okay. Thank you.
And then I would like to add to that discussion if possible. So as you saw tonight, we had the resignation of the high school principal. It is mid-April. We have very talented people within our district that warranted a reorganization. And so taking where we are with visible learning and the timetable, we're taking two very experienced administrators in the district and giving them head principal opportunities. I'm very excited. They have earned that. And then I will be sharing the why with those buildings affected starting tomorrow morning. I'll do a staff meeting at a building. I'll talk to those principals right after this tonight and call a staff meeting tomorrow and Wednesday respectively to really explain to staff the process that will open up a middle school assistant principal. And then that closes a half of an assistant principal at the high school. So that evens out a little bit. We aren't adding any new staff, and we're adding some duties to the central principal's plate. So we'll be talking about that and very excited about those changes. So pending a final vote.
Yes. Any other discussion? Without further ado, would you, if you accept, raise your right hand. Thank you so much. Passes unanimously.
stuff. Good.
Congratulations to all.
Good stuff.
Good. Okay, and last, we wanted to talk about board member registration, and your registration is due to the county clerk's office by noon on June 1st, if you wish to run again, or anyone wishes to run. And Brandy. Brandy, yep. Yep. And you've all three, you're running again? Yay. All right. Whoop, whoop. I call for a motion to adjourn, please. Thank you so much. A second. Thank you so much. All in favor, raise your right hand. Have a wonderful night, everyone. Thank you so much.